Accessibility Case Studies, Tessa Greenleaf.
So some questions you need to ask about accessibility when you're thinking about this process are, is the file text or is it an image of text? Does the file have increased navigation? Tamara mentioned different heading levels when she was talking about website navigation. You can put those in PDFs and Word docs as well. They act as sort of bookmarks, and they're actually called bookmarks in a PDF. So when you think of a table of contents, when you open your physical novel and you think, oh, I want to skip ahead to chapter 9 because I know that's where I left off. Well, someone who can't visually see that and who's using screen reading software on a computer, they want that same navigation, and you can give that to them very easily. The final thing is there alt text for images and figures? Elements of accessibility, scanning a file in. If you have a piece of paper, you scan it on your fax machine and you email it to a coworker, it's not accessible, it's electronic. You've converted it from the physical to the electronic, but that doesn't mean that JAWS is going to read it. If you're able to highlight individual lines and words, that means that your file is text. If you click on the page and the whole page highlights, that's an image. It's taking a picture of the page. A picture is not accessible to someone who doesn't see the picture. And that leads us into OCR. OCR is optical character recognition. This is what AMAC uses when we convert files from a picture file to text. What optical character recognition does is it takes the picture of text and it makes an educated guess of what the text on that page is. And we've all worked with technology enough to know that that educated guess is sometimes pretty off the mark. So a human layer needs to come in and analyze, okay, what did this software pick up on correctly? What was wrong? And that's a lot of what I've done is double checking how the software recognizes text and figures so that the end user receives a product that really is accessible. So I'm going to show you an example of scanned versus text images. If I go down to the first few pages that have a lot of text on them, when I click on it, I can't highlight individual words. It's highlighting the whole page. That's because this is a book that was scanned in. The final product, after running it through optical character recognition, I'll make this larger. I can highlight sentences and words. By highlighting these words, I can use a screen reader called ClaraRead. This is one example of tons of screen readers. This is one that a lot of students with cognitive disabilities use. You can highlight.
Young middle class is emerging in Italia. Its leaders pushing for community changes that will benefit their own families and a large number.
That was a little loud, I apologize. But you can see that I'm highlighting the text.
Elected officials to be more responsive and more aggressive.
In the scan, I couldn't highlight individual text. It highlighted the whole page. So you can't use screen reading software like this on a scan. And that's a very simple, basic concept that a lot of people don't understand, and it's not necessarily their fault. If this question never comes up, nobody is told that is inaccessible. And I've talked to a lot of people who have no concept that a scan is an inaccessible file. They say, well, it's a PDF, it's electronic. That's not quite good enough. Similarly, we can go into Word docs, and this is our agenda for the day. Highlight the text.
Welcome. Introductions.
Works the same way. ClaraRead works on anything that's on your screen. It hovers as you change windows. Now I'm going to close out of this for a second. And it started me over, that's okay. I talked about increased navigation, bookmarks. This is a screenshot on my left of PDF bookmarks and doc headings. These are manually created. They don't automatically come out of your file. So what that means is when I open up my Word document, I've created these headings in the book. On the left side of my screen, you can see I have preface, chapter 1, chapter 2. This is good for students in particular who are using books, or if you're navigating a long case study, a longer file that you don't want to have to scroll through the whole book to find page 200. You can jump ahead and navigate there. Works the same way in the PDF. I have bookmarks here telling me which chapters I can jump ahead to. That's not what I wanted. For some reason I keep starting over, so we'll just work with it. Another element of accessibility is alternate text. We've started going down that road a little bit, and like I said, we could spend all day here, but adding alt text to Word docs is similar to adding alt text to a website. You have the picture, you have alt text embedded in the picture. As a sighted user, I'm not going to see the alt text that's in an image. If I'm using a screen reader, I'll hear it. There's a lot of confusion over where the alt text is. I've spoken with people who are saying, I can't find the alt text, like I don't see it. You haven't added alt text. You won't always see it. It's embedded for the screen reader to find, just like Tamara was talking about. Speaking of alt text, some accessibility barriers are graphic email signatures. Lots of companies like the really pretty graphics that have their logo and their tagline, and they make an individualized graphic for each employee. If that is an image, if you can click on that whole image, if you're sending that email to someone who uses a screen reader, they won't know who you are. If it's a graphic and there's no alt text on it, they have no idea who's signing the email. Same thing with graphic headers and footers. If you're sending out, like a style sheet that has, for example, this graphic says Impact Glassware and it has the address and state, zip, etc. Someone who's accessing this file with a screen reader won't know what the header says. It's visual, it's pretty, we like it because we can see it, but not everyone is going to have that same experience. So now I'm just going to go a little more into examples, and then I'll just open the floor for questions. When I open up our agenda, I talked about alt text. This Access IT logo at the top of our agenda, if I'm using a screen reader, how do I know what this picture is? When I open up the picture format tools, this alt text is embedded in the description. Somebody came in and described this logo. Alt text is not automated. You don't run it through some magical system that can figure out what the picture is. That would be awesome. But there are people like me sitting at their desk, finding pictures and describing them. It is manually written. People like to think we're advanced enough that it's automated. So when you ask, how long will it take for me to get a 200-page chemistry book returned with alt text? Can I get it next week? No, probably not. I'm not a chemistry expert. I can't explain all those molecules to you. We need to find someone who can. So like I said, this is a big barrier as far as accessibility is concerned. And there are ways to work around it, but depending on the size of the file and the content, it could take some time, and it's going to take some effort from all sides.
This video was funded by the State of Georgia ADA Coordinator's Office, a section of the Georgia State Financing and Investment Commission. For more information, please visit the Georgia Accessible IT Initiative's website at www.accessit.gatech.edu. or visit the Georgia State ADA Coordinator's Office website at www.ada.georgia.gov. This video was produced by AMAC Accessibility at the Georgia Institute of Technology. To learn more about AMAC Accessibility, please visit our website at www.amacusg.org.